Rich Rodriguez has been named the head football coach at WVU, which was announced by Vice President and Director of Athletics Ren Baker today. Rich Rod returns to Morgantown after previously coaching the Mountaineers from 2001 to 2007 when he compiled a 60-26 record with 6 trips to bowl games. Those trips included 2 wins in the Sugar Bowl in 2005 and the Gator Bowl in 2006. The West Virginia native and alum also won 4 Big East titles. He was previously the head coach at Jacksonville State University, where he just led the program to their first ever Conference USA championship. He replaces Neil Brown, who was fired following the team's last regular season game, which was a 52-15 loss to Texas Tech. And following being hired at West Virginia, in a news release from the school today, Rodriguez said, "I am thrilled to have the opportunity to be the head football coach at West Virginia University. My family and I are filled with gratitude to lead the Mountaineer football program again and look forward to working with the many supporters, fans, and friends to build the best football program in America. Take me home."